Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of November of 2020. So first of all, for those of you who are in the United States as I am, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully it will be both enjoyable and safe as we are in the midst of the big COVID surge and the CDC is warning about any type of gatherings and things like that. So hopefully you will have a safe break. We are on break for me right now, finally. I basically get from 8 p.m. on the 20th of November until 8 a.m. on the 30th of November as an actual break from working, where I'm not checking the system at all because we are forbidden to, basically. So finally taking a real break as far as that goes. This video, of course, we want to run down what has come out new from me since the last of the project update videos, and I got a few things to show that I can show in a better way than a video that is already out there thanks to a podcast that I was recently a guest on, which we'll deal with basically last as our rundown of things here because it's the oddball item at this point. So first, let me thank all of you who are backers over there on my Patreon. The Patreon, of course, is patreon.com/NathanPButler. We have 3 tiers over there. We start out with the Travelers Through the Butlerniverse. That is the $1 tier, the folks who get a thanks in these videos and in the credits on these videos, and who will get a thanks on the Patreon credits page in A Saga on Home Video 2nd edition. Bear in mind, by the way, as we get closer to publication on that, I'm going to have to set a cutoff date that anyone who has been at least a Traveler Through the Butlerniverse on Patreon up to a certain point gets on that page, because after that, the book will be ready for publication, and obviously I won't be continuing to add to it unless there is eventually a 3rd edition, which I cannot guarantee at this point, though it certainly seems like it's probably going to be likely if they keep putting out physical home video releases. So, the Travelers Through the Butlerniverse at this point are Caleb Owens, Justin Richard, Preston Ellis, Jeremy Goss, Ben Abrams, Michael Torson, Jacob Kapoor, Tony Jenkins, Kevin Kreiner, Austin Pierce, and Chris Walker. Then we have our denizens of the Butlerniverse, who also get access to audio commentaries that I produce and put up on Patreon, primarily for the Clone Wars, though there are 2 already for Forces of Destiny. My goal within this Thanksgiving break is to get the other 2 volumes of Forces of Destiny done as audio commentaries so I can put them up sometime between now and Christmas. So you will hopefully be seeing the other 2 Forces of Destiny volumes done, which will wrap up that series for the commentaries. And no, that's not in place of commentaries for Clone Wars. That is in addition to the 2 that we'll already be seeing. So, the denizens of the Butlerniverse include Craigie Pants. Craig, let me know if you want me to give a more accurate name as opposed to a username, but I just want to make sure not to jump the gun on doing so, just in case you didn't want me to do that. So Craigie Pants, Jeff Rabjohns, Dave Broadway, Matt DeRochers, Joseph Blankenship, Daniel Marchant, Travis Taylor, Andrew Gilbertson, Walker Langstrat, Kyle Pellegrini, Nathan W. Mortimer, Jeff Ellis, Joey Zitzman, Stephen Malicia, Robert Medina, Bobby Craig, Jeremiah Mustard, and Jason Hunt. Then we have the Nobility of the Butlerniverse. This is that $10 tier. These are the folks that also get access to those monthly Q&A episodes where they submit the questions and I answer the various questions and messages in a monthly video that is only viewable by members of that tier. Again, that is the Nobility of the Butlerniverse, as it's called, if you're interested in that. We have Connor Steyerman, Matthew Hardesty, Ennis, Jonathan Comfer, Sam Howard, Brian Snook, Andrew Bettis, Aaron Melzak, and Benjamin Handelman. As for new releases since the last of these updates, we of course on November 1st had a new commentary get released on Patreon. That is for Plan of Descent, part of the Carnage of Krell, or Krell Darkness on Umbara arc, whatever you want to call it. Then we had the Nobility of the Butlerniverse exclusive Q&A video number 35 on November 3rd, and on November 15th we had the next of the commentaries based on the Umbara arc of the Clone Wars, Carnage of Krell. Next up, by the way, on December 1st will be Kidnapped, and then December 15th, Slaves of the Republic. January 1st, Escape from Kade. That is the Zygerian arc there that came from the Slaves of the Republic arc in the comics. I'm kind of glad that I didn't yet record the next one, which would be A Friend in Need, because that, of course, is the introduction of Bo-Katan, who just showed up on Mandalorian. So I will be focusing in on that in the near future too, probably during this same break. But I'm putting my focus on Forces of Destiny first, because obviously the Clone Wars commentaries are ready to go through January 1st now. And of course, in early December, we'll have the next of those exclusive Q&A videos, but obviously I won't know what the questions are, and I won't have that recorded until we are past the end of November to make sure that everybody who asked a question in November gets a chance to get an answer in December. Of course, the bulk of the stuff that I'm putting out right now is, of course, through YouTube, and we had a brand new, long-anticipated episode of From the Star Wars Home Video Library shortly after the last update video was released. That was episode 339, looking at all of those August 2010 black border, DVD-only, Blu-ray-only, and 4K/Blu-ray releases of all 11 live-action films coming out of the UK. Then we picked up with episode number 340, looking at a preview DVD from the UK for the Clone Wars that included Downfall of a Droid, which at one point was meant to be the first regular episode, or at least the first regular episode of the series that featured Anakin and so on. Then we had a look at a Betamax, basically like a little in-house cassette that included a trailer for Revenge of the Jedi before the name was changed. Then we took a look at a couple of box sets coming out of the UK in 2004, one of which was the vinyl box set that included some cards as well as a DVD set, and we looked at the so-called limited edition battle pack that also included not only the DVDs from 2004, but a copy of the Xbox version of the Battlefront video game, which was just kind of weird. That brings us to episode 344, where we took a look at the other of the South Korean 3D plus 2D releases of The Force Awakens. We'd already looked at the limited edition, and we looked at the standard edition finally, once I figured out that it even, existed. Then we took a look at A New Hope CED variant from 1983 that had a white spine. I keep calling them frames, but it's called a spine. A white spine around the disc, and then had no little grip down at the bottom, so it was a reissue, the third version we had of A New Hope for that. Then we got into, I think, the next batch of videos that I had recorded, which I'm still working my way through right now, which kicked off with a look at LEGO Star Wars The Padawan Menace when it was reissued with a digital copy code. We took a look at the last of the box sets from 1995 in the UK, which is the one that was basically like a cardboard box around the packaging. We took a look at the making of a Star Wars audiobook DVD from Celebration 3 called It's a Big Universe. We took a look at a rather elaborate screener, that Darth Vader face back there, of The Legacy Revealed. And we took a look at some oddball stuff recently, which was basically stuff from the George Lucas AFI Life Achievement Awards ceremony, including a CD of the music used when William Shatner was up there singing his Your Way version of My Way. At this point, I still have, I want to say, like 15 videos recorded from that last recording session that I have not had a chance to edit and put out. So I'm not planning on recording any more today. Time is tight anyway, so that wasn't going to happen no matter what, pretty much. But there is quite a bit that I can still get ready to go and get out before the next of our project update videos, and then I plan, hopefully sometime in like early to mid-December, to record yet another batch of those. Right now, 15 will take us quite a while for me to get time to actually edit and get through, and that includes whatever the next episode winds up being, which I believe is going to be episode 350. Though 350 isn't really a milestone that matters to me much when it comes to this series, because when you think about it, I've got so many supplemental, like point 1, point 2, whatever episodes and little sidebar intermission episodes that really, we passed 350 a while ago. Though I never would have imagined when the series started that we were actually going to get this far. As for a saga on home video, still going through the hand editing phase like I was last time. At this point, kind of still hammering away at it as I go. I want to say right now, my guess would be that the working page count will probably wind up, when it's all said and done, so not a working page count, but the final page count, will probably be somewhere between 700 and 750 pages, give or take. I don't think it's going to cross into the 750 to 800 range, but we'll see. And as far as the number of pictures go, we're probably looking at around 1,000 when all is said and done, if not more. As I'm going through, I'm basically making a note of how many pictures are already in each chapter, but I'm not editing them, like sequentially. I'm kind of bouncing around and leaving some of the bigger slogs, like the Clone Wars chapter, for later, which I actually just jumped into again. But we're already at like over 770 pictures, just counting the pictures in the chapters I've already gone through and hand edited in this round. And that doesn't include a cantina full of oddballs, Behind the Curtain, or rewriting, the Clone Wars, which are some of the image-heavy ones, especially that Clone Wars one. So if it's not already past 1,000 pictures, I'm betting we will definitely be past the 1,000 picture mark by the time the book is ready for publication. Again, the publication target is still first half of 2021. but it's hard to say because it all comes down to how much time I actually get to work on it. I can work on it some when my son is being good and kind of chilling in his little thing behind me in our bedroom on my regular computer. The biggest thing is getting time to take pictures. That's why I take hundreds of pictures at a time. But 300 pictures could maybe be, less than 100 products. 300 pictures is probably more like 50 to 70 different products at most, or different shots that I needed at most, because I take multiple shots of each one. So it's taken a while, but my hope is that sometime over this break, I'm going to try to figure out a way to still take pictures while my son is in some type of confined space in the same room, so that he can play and I can do the pictures without him throwing stuff into the picture box or otherwise making me go insane while I'm trying to do it. So hopefully I'll get more pictures done over this break. I just don't know if that's going to happen yet. But that's the big thing. There's not really a whole lot of writing still to do. There's a little bit. And there's certainly some little refinements and tweaks, but a lot of it's just right now with writing is plugging in stuff like dimensions of certain art cards that I need to measure to make sure that I'm giving the dimensions on most of these. And then there's taking the pictures and putting the pictures in. From a writing perspective, I would say there's hardly much at all. That's why it's kind of hard to guess what the final page count's going to be, though I think I've got a pretty decent educated guess, because it's not about how much text is left to add. It's much more about how many pictures there are left to add, and the pictures tend to take up quite a bit more space. One picture takes up, a paragraph or so worth of actual space within the book. So a little tough to say, but I'll keep you guys apprised as we go along, as always. Now, lastly, I did get a chance to be a guest on a podcast recently. And I should say I will probably be a guest in the near future again on the Star Wars Action News end-of-year recap, where Brock and I discuss, the books and comics of the preceding year as we wrap the year up. But I don't know exactly when we're going to record that. I just know that I've been invited, and I've said, yes, I really want to make that happen, because it's kind of a yearly tradition that we have done. But just recently, I had a chance to be back on Star Wars Beyond the Films. Remember, for those who need the context of it, I started podcasting back before the word podcasting existed, back in May of 2002. I finally retired from Star Wars podcasting of any kind, outside of the Patreon commentaries, if you want to call those, podcasts, though I don't really. They're kind of a different beast. But I retired after 18 years earlier this year. And the last shows that I was on was Cloud City Casino and Star Wars Beyond the Films. Now, for Cloud City Casino, I never really got a chance to say goodbye, but there is an opportunity soon that I may be able to get with Michael Morris of Cloud City Casino, if not to record anything for Cloud City Casino, but to be a guest on his Mando cast talking about the Mandalorian Season 2 stuff. It's just a matter of getting it to work with his schedule in mind, which was part of the issue previously with any of this stuff, right? Part of why I retired was making schedules work. But we're certainly going to try to make that happen this season at some point. But for Star Wars Beyond the Films, I was invited back to take part in the launch of a series of episodes that actually Mark and I had talked about for ages. Mark Herleman, the guy I hosted with over there, who is now continuing to host with Jim Lahane, who has taken my space. Basically, we had talked about doing a full run-through of the new Jedi Order at some point, but it was never something we managed to pull off, and with my schedule, it was probably never going to happen. Well, now that I have retired and I've stepped away from the show, he and Jim have finally been able to launch that coverage. And to sort of kick that off, they decided to invite me on the show when we covered Vector Prime. So it was Star Wars Beyond the Films, episode 252, which you can find from November 15th over on StarWarsReport.com. But see, this wasn't actually just an episode about that, which I didn't know at the time. It came as a bit of a surprise. You see, I found it actually kind of surprising that it was so easy to figure out a time to record that time, because usually there's a little bit of bumping against my wife's schedule, my schedule, and all that kind of stuff. She was very, very encouraging, like, yeah, you should do it. Let's figure it out. We'll make it work. I'm like, okay. Turns out there was some conspiracy behind the scenes where she was already in contact with Mark, and they were figuring out a way to make sure that I could get to record this episode, because Mark and Jim and other members of that community, spearheaded by Andrew Gilbertson, actually worked together to put together basically what amounted to a retirement gift for me, and sent it to my wife's brief little P.O. box so that it wouldn't show up at the house and have me wondering why she was getting a package from Andrew Gilbertson. So this giant package winds up arriving, and she has it kind of secreted away and whatever. Secreted away. I've seen that as secreted away, like hiding something, but if you pronounce it secreted, that's a whole different thing. So not quite sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that. But hidden away so that when the time came at the end of the episode, they could spring on me the thank you and bring out the package and have my wife actually video record me as I'm unboxing the gift. The episode is up on StarWarsReport.com, and they've included the video. I don't know if it's on the website, but I know they put it on the Facebook page. So you can sort of see my reaction to it. But because it's a little tough to see because of how I was unboxing it at the time, I wanted to show you those things here actually in this video so that those who have followed it and maybe followed the episode and heard it can see better what it was they put together. Because it really, it was touching. I'm someone who, as much as I put stuff out there, I don't often know quite how to handle praise, really. Like there was a gentleman recently on the YouTube channel, Jack, and Jack said, from the Star Wars home video library is just like the best cure for depression. Ever hearing any kind of praise, particularly praise that involves uplifting people who otherwise may not have something to uplift them, to be someone who has made an impact, to be someone who has put something out there that he loves, and to find out that others love it as well, and to feel that appreciation. I've never been someone who's really easily able to handle or know how to respond to that, because it just kind of hits me, and it kind of overwhelms me, and I know that saying thanks isn't enough, but I don't know how to express that level of gratitude a lot of times. So I really, really appreciate the audience that has stuck with me or had stuck with me over the years of podcasting, the stuff on YouTube, the Timeline Gold for the 20 years, almost 21 years it was around, and truly appreciate those who came together to put together this retirement gift for me and managed to keep it under wraps for so long. So I want to show you those things, and I want to say thank you again. But yeah, you can see my actual reaction as I was opening it on the Star Wars Beyond the Films Facebook page. I believe it's facebook.com/SWBeyondFilms still. So as you probably know, my son's name is Kade. He is named after Kade Skywalker, who of course is the son of Cole Skywalker, who is either the son or grandson, they never really clarified, I'm assuming son, of Ben Skywalker, who is a son of Mara Jade Skywalker and Luke Skywalker back in the Legends continuity. Kade Skywalker, of course, was the primary character in the original Star Wars Legacy comic series. He is my favorite Star Wars character, and his name is common enough in the sense that it is a real-world name, primarily from, like, the South, where I live now. Actually, there's a character named Cade Calvert in Gone with the Wind. So he got the name Kade. My son got the name Kade as a Star Wars name that doesn't really sound super Star Wars, so it's not a dead giveaway like naming him Snoke or something. But that is my favorite character, as a character my son is named after. And they went through the trouble of working with a saber crafting place to actually provide me with a replica that is as accurate as possible of Cade Skywalker's lightsaber, which he gets from his father Cole, with the ability there to turn on a little green light, right? Okay. This is meant to be on display, and it will be up on my wall here once I finally get a chance to actually put it on the wall, because using a drill or an electric screwdriver of any kind freaks Cade out at this point, so I haven't had a chance to actually ever have the free time to do it when he's not going to freak out, because he's usually here with me. But it's meant to go on a display, and this is that display. Kind of that Imperial-type background. It says, Cade's lightsaber, a legacy from his father, which obviously, you know, has the dual meaning of the character in universe and my son. Now that has with it a remote, because if I turn it on here, and it's kind of awkward to show this because I got to plug it into the wall. It actually has colors, and you can alter what color you want it to be, or set its brightness, or set it to sort of cycle through, and so on and so on and so on, so that if I want to put this on the wall and actually have the flash there, and have colors showing, I can. In the box, there was also a little artistic piece here with personal messages from many of the people who contributed. I actually read all of these on Star Wars Beyond the Films 252, right? So you can hear what those were or hear them in the video if you watch the little video that they posted up there. And then also going on my wall, they put this together. A plaque here. I'll try to do this without getting choked up this time, because I've read it a few times now, so I think I can do it without getting all verklempt. It says, to Nathan P. Butler, the longest-running Star Wars podcaster. They were able to determine that. I knew I was the longest-running English language. They talked to Danny and them over on Star Wars On Direct and found that they had taken a break, which meant that I was, and still, until somebody surpasses it, am the longest-running Star Wars podcaster of all time at 18 years. That says May 2002 to July 2020, in recognition of your enduring legacy, and the little Jedi symbol. It says, for a lifetime's worth of entertainment, in recognition of all the fans who have been impacted by your love of Star Wars, and for the friendship that's touched us all. Thank you for 18 years of audio, and remember, no one's ever really gone. The Force will be with you always. Then underneath, it's got the images from some of the logos of the shows I've been on. Not all of them, but most of them. The most prominent ones, Chrono Radio, Butlerniverse, EU Review, Republic Forces Radio Network, Star Wars Reports Rebels Roundtable, Beyond the Films. Sorry, Michael, they didn't put Cloud City Casino on there. And then you've got the people that contributed to this all down there at the bottom. So this will have a place of honor in the house. I'm not quite sure where yet. I think it's probably going to go above where my personal computer is in our bedroom, where it's got a picture of me and Jody and Kade from the day Kade was born, and then have this next to it kind of as two things flanking above the computer. I just got to make sure that that area doesn't have any electrical wires behind it that I need to worry about when mounting it, because this is pretty heavy. It's going to need pretty heavy screw to keep it in there. So in case you were wondering what those were all those things from that gift that you would have seen me unboxing if you watched that video on the Facebook page for Beyond the Films, or if you heard the episode as I was unboxing it there at the end. Again, if you haven't heard it, it is episode 252 of Star Wars Beyond the Films. It kicks off the coverage of Vector Prime. It's a chance to hear me on Beyond the Films again as a guest for that one episode, and to get a chance to sort of experience in the live audio of the unboxing experience as this surprise was sprung on me at the time. Again, my thanks to all who took part in this. With that, we'll wrap up this month's update. Again, thanks to all those who have contributed to that. Thanks to all those who are backers over there on Patreon. Thanks to all of you who are watching, and hopefully you will have a great, safe Thanksgiving if you are in the U.S., and otherwise just safe time heading into winter here elsewhere. It's a jungle out there. If by jungle you mean it's raging on fire, and the fire is a disease, not actual flame. I'm not sure that's a good analogy, but yeah, it's a difficult time right now. So hopefully all of you are keeping safe, all of you are keeping healthy, both physically and mentally and emotionally, along with all this stuff that's going on here. And if I can continue to provide some entertainment to help, ease that burden and provide a little bit of joy from time to time, then hey, I certainly am enjoying doing it, so I will keep passing along that enjoyment, hopefully, to you all as well. So with that, we'll wrap up this update. I will see you in a month.